everyone. This is Peter Grandich. I always remind you this is not to be considered investment advice. Always speak to a licensed financial advisor before making an investment decision and read our disclosures. Well, I'm one day late. I have a guilty with an explanation excuse, but it was worth waiting for because this gentleman has just, since his day of arrival at this company, it's transformed, along with others, into a very special situation, highly biased, own a lot of stock, blog sponsor. And of course, I'm speaking about Radisson Mining, and I have with us the CEO, Matt Manson. First of all, Matt, what can I say again but great news? But why don't we just start by discussing what you announced yesterday?
Yeah, this is one for the geologists, Peter. We've really got some good geological results here and good drill results. So you remember back in December, we announced that we drilled the deepest hole ever drilled on the project, 1,500 meters, 500 meters below the base of the old mine. Of course, Radisson is the old O'Brien gold mine. And so, it was a pilot hole designed to just go down below the old mine. In 70 years since this mine stopped producing, nobody had ever drilled below the old workings, believe it or not. So this was the first time we did it. We hit 30 grams over 8 meters. So terrific, unlooked for, unexpected, but we got it. Unexpected because we were just putting a pilot hole down and we were going to start doing wedges to poke around there. We've started the wedges. We announced the results from the first three, and they've all hit. So we have now we're able to build up a picture of multiple veins at that depth, and we can even see how they go up and they tie into the base of the old mine. So we've been doing what we describe as proof of concept drilling, stepping out with big, brave step outs below the old mine, below the old resource, and we're hitting pretty regularly. And we've talked about, we've got 1 million ounces right now in resource. We've talked about the exploration target being 3 million ounces. And this is, as I think, demonstrating that we're on track. 3 million ounces is what you get if this system of mineralization continues down to about 2 kilometers vertical depth. And here we are hitting on the way down. So very happy about that. And I'm going to share a slide here, if you let me, just to illustrate that. Here's what we're talking about. Here's all the deep holes, all of them. We're not showing you any holes that have missed. They're all on that slide. These are the holes that we have published so far with assay results below the current resource, below the old mine. And there you see now the splay of holes 500 meters below the old mine. They're all beginning to hit the classic O'Brien type mineralization, quartz sulfide veins in Pichet rocks. Relatively narrow widths, but very good grades. That's the classic O'Brien mineralizing style. And it's a long answer to your question, but I'm going to show you the second slide. We put this in the press release. This is us showing that these hits on these now 4 holes down there are all lining up. And you've got the original stope that was mined out in the original mine, 1/2 ounce average grade. They mined that thing down at. There's the mapping of the old mine from the 50s at the base of the old mine, and you project it down, and you get 242 grams over a meter. You get 53 grams over a meter. Those 2 big red bubbles are sitting right on that vein. But then better than that, the old miners, it's a very long answer, the old miners were just high grading the O'Brien mine. They were going for the half an ounce average grade. There were other zones parallel to their main mining area that were 8, 9, 10 grams per ton, which they left. And we know this because we have all the original drilling data and we have the mapping from the old mine. And that wasn't ore to them, believe it or not, back in the 50s. For us now, that's terrifically interesting. We know that stuff is out there. We've got these other hits in these splays. We project those veins up and they intersect where those zones are at the base of the old mine from that mapping. So this is really holding together now. This is what we say is our proof of concept that this system is continuing down. And we couldn't be happier. That was a terrific result for us. 4 out of 4 holes in that area have now hit. We said in the press release, always a little bit difficult to say this because we're talking about visual inspection of core, but there are 2 additional wedges we've done down there, number 4 and number 5. They've both got mineralization. They've both got visible gold. Let's see what the assays are. buyer beware. We've got to get the data back yet, but they're in the right place. The model is holding together. So, here we are. I mean, this is what we talked about, this project being capable of doing, going down to that kind of depth, and we're getting those results.
So I have to say this publicly while we're recording. When you said the words, we couldn't have been happier, I can actually see it in you versus the first time I ever spoke to you. So uh, I'm certain there's some sort of pride in this that, you came in on a concept, you believed it, and here in less than a year's time is at the helm. This has dramatically changed the story behind this company, which, by the way, I have to remind previous press releases put to bed some of the hurdles that people had concerns about, metallurgically, all that kind of stuff. And also the next simple question is this, Matt, what comes next?
Well, I think, how I describe the life of this company right now, the day job is the drilling. And you've detected that we're happy about this. When you're in the business of exploring a mineral deposit, there's nothing better than planning a deep hole, making a prediction that you're going to get something, and getting that, and then doing it 3 times in a row. All right. I mean, Dave Ross, who's our VP exploration and who built that model, and who I work with at Marathon Gold as well, and I got a lot of trust in him, and he called me up to say, listen, I got this model and it's all lining up, right? And it's lining up back up to the old mine, right? I mean, the light bulb goes on. And so we're in this business to find things. It's treasure hunting. Mineral exploration, I used to always say to young people in this business, it's treasure hunting. It's lots of fun. And so, this is lots of fun. So that's the day job, though. Steady drilling, going down 22,000 meters this year, fully funded, delivering those types of results. That's the day job. The bigger picture is now, what do we have here, right? We've got 1 million ounces, formal resource. It's going to 3. Take that 1 million ounces right now. And what does that look like in terms of a mine plan? You mentioned the metallurgy. We've worked out now what the recovery is going to be, what the metallurgical characteristics of the ore is going to be. We're looking at the Doyen mill with a milling assessment specific for this ore to go there, consistent with what IAMGOLD, the owner of that operation, have said that they want to achieve for that operation, more ore, consistent with what we've said we want to achieve, a destination for this ore. So we're putting that together in terms of a mining study, understand what is the value of what we have here on that basis. When you don't have to build your own mill, you don't have to build your own tailings facility. And we think that's a very valuable proposition, right? That is the bigger picture stuff behind, right? What we're doing around mining, mine planning, the commercial arrangements of the company, the future of the company, building up the value of the company, going down that path. A lot of work going on in the background there with all that kind of stuff. Hope to be able to talk about some numbers and put things out in the market, sooner rather than later. But work in progress. The day job with the drilling isn't shabby either. I mean, it's going really well.
Well, it's all systems go. My only suggestion to you as we finish this up is I watched your interview with Michael Gentili. Just tell him don't give up his day job. He's not an interviewer. He's the person to be interviewed.
Yeah, well, we were kind of we talked about that beforehand, and we said we're going to have a sort of a conversation. We're two directors of the company. Let's have a kind of a conversation. And Michael is a terrific board member, I have to say. Great, it's been great experience working with him. I knew him as an investor before. Now I know him as a colleague and a fellow board member. Terrific person to have on any company's board, and very constructive, very involved. And yeah, and that we wanted to try and bring that across in that
No,
conversation.
I understand. I'm just actually Josh, and we know unbelievable talent that he brings to organizations, and he puts his own money where his mouth is, but you
He
can't ask
does.
for anything more. All right, Matt, it sounds like we won't be too long before we're speaking to you again.
Yep, hope not. Thanks, Peter.